has released a software to fix the security vulnerability issue that reportedly was being used to hack iPhones. Now, according to researchers at the Citizen Lab of Toronto University, the security issue was exploited to plant spyware on a Saudi activist's iPhone. And researchers claim that Israel's NSO group could be behind this attack. They further said that it's for the first time that a zero-click exploit has been caught and analyzed, where a user does not have to click on the infected links for the phone to get hacked. Meanwhile, Apple in its statement has clarified that such exploits are not a threat to a majority of users since they're expensive and have a short shelf life. It appealed to its users to click on the update software in order to avoid hacking of their phones. Let's in fact get in some more perspective on this. Kanish Gaur, cyber expert, is joining us on the phone line. Thank you so much for speaking to Mirror Now. This patch or this, the software that has been released by Apple to sort of cover up this vulnerability, how much is it actually going to be effective in terms of, or this kind of a thing can actually repeat in some other form?
So I think it's a game of cat and mouse. There are security researchers, hackers who keep on finding these zero-day threats. Zero-day threats means any particular vulnerability or a bug which the company which is producing the software is not aware about. So today this is one, there could be tomorrow again, another bug which would come out. But the main part is not about releasing this patch. The main part is how many people use this software upgrade to patch their devices. Because in zero-click softwares, if you haven't patched up, even after the company has released a particular patch, your systems still remain vulnerable. So it's important all those people who are using iOS, who are using Apple softwares, they upgrade and fix this particular vulnerability for which an exploit was used by NSO or any other hacking group.
Right. Also, if you can also explain to us a little bit about this zero-click exploit, because it's not something that, regular users would even be aware about. The fact that you don't have to even click a link and you can still be vulnerable to, certain hacking.
Sure. So let's just understand what is a zero-day, a zero-day risk. A zero-day risk is basically if I find a vulnerability and I exploit it in a system, then I don't want a user to basically click any link which I send to them. All they need to do is that if I know your IP address, if I know your phone, I can remotely use certain hacking tools and compromise your system. You don't even need to click anything. Your systems are not updated, your systems are not patched, then somebody can remotely control your system. We can perform read and write operations. So that is what happened in case of this zero-day risk, zero-day click repository which happened which was used by NSO group. And this can happen again. This is not just one time, it can happen again. There are security researchers who keep on finding out these zero-day risks, and it is for companies like Apple to find patches on a timely basis. Between when somebody reports a zero-day risk, by the time a company patches, typically the cycle is between 60 to 90 days. And this is the period where hackers use this for hacking into systems. And once the company releases the patch, how soon the users apply this patch on the system is also very, very important. If people don't apply the patch, then there are chances they will still have their systems remaining vulnerable. So the patching up cycle plays a very, very important role. And this, is, I would say, not just a risk to small population, but a large group, because anyone who is not updated their systems will remain at risk. So what Apple is telling right now that large population remains not vulnerable, I don't think so that's the case. Anyone who is not patched up their systems will still remain vulnerable to zero-click malware links.
Okay. And one final question, Kanishka. Apple has said that these exploits are not a threat to majority of the users and, they have a low shelf life and are expensive. Is that something that's to be taken at face value, or should this be treated on par with any other kind of, vulnerabilities that one is exposed to while using such devices?
See, typically what happens if somebody is able to find a bug, They will create an exploit. A hacker will write an exploit and then they sell it in the underground community. There are dark web, deep web communities. There are IRC forums on which they are sold and people buy it on bitcoins. Now, how they are used is something which you and I will never know. This is something which happens behind the scenes. So, saying that it is not going to impact a large population is incorrect. It can impact critical systems. The bigger risk is it can impact critical information infrastructure, which could be banking, which could be telecom, it could be nuclear establishments. So, this is a big risk. So organizations like Apple have to really keep ahead, or even if it is Android. So telling that it is not going to impact masses, I don't think so that holds. Uh, More importantly, organizations like Apple should come forward and release a formal submission stating that this was a particular vulnerability which they have patched. This is going to the impact and the damage which they see today. And this is the action they have taken. Just reporting that they have released the patch is not going to suffice today because so many people don't know what patch they have to update. So if tomorrow on your system you get a upgrade saying that you need to update to a latest patch, you will do it as per your need, right? As per your timeline. But why it is important, that also needs to be communicated very, very clearly today.
All right, Kanishk, thank you so much for joining us and helping us understand and put all of this into perspective.